Welcome into the BSN Broncos Weekly Breakdown presented by Green Mountain Dental Group. Our friends at Green Mountain Dental Group are offering Vera retainers to keep your smile perfect. Just mention BSN and you will get this amazing custom-made up to $500 system for free. Just mention BSN. I'm Allie Monroy, and alongside me today is BSN Broncos beat writer Ryan Koenigsberg. The Broncos season officially ended last Sunday when they fell to the LA Chargers in front of 12,000 empty seats at Mile High. Now, changes have already been made, but Ryan, first and foremost, who is responsible for the 6-10 season?
A lot of people are responsible, from the top down. Really, you could start at Joe Ellis and go all the way down to the last player on the 53-man roster. But when you look at who is most responsible, I think that's a more interesting way to look at it. And to me, the person who is most responsible is Case Keenum. They just did not get enough out of their quarterback, and you could argue that maybe Bill Musgrave could have called better plays, and you can argue a bunch of different stuff. But in the end, when a quarterback is paid $18 million to deliver wins and ends up with 18 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, it's just simply not good enough. It's not good enough, and no team can really have success under those type of circumstances at the quarterback position. So there's plenty, and I mean plenty, of blame to go around. But if I have to point the finger at one person, it's going to be Case Keenum.
Now, of course, the Broncos let go of head coach Vance Joseph, and at this point have interviewed quite a few candidates. Out of all of them, who's your favorite?
My personal favorite is Zach Taylor. He's the 35-year-old quarterbacks coach in Los Angeles, kind of has the hot shot, young guy thing going for him, working under Sean McVay. He's the biggest risk, but that's what I'm about. Take the biggest possible risk because it has the highest possible reward. I joked on Twitter, Vic Fangio, who is the odds-on favorite in Vegas right now, and I like him as a coach as well, he's 60 years old. Zach Taylor could coach the Broncos until 2044, and then he's 60 years old. So not that matters, but what I'm saying is you have a chance here to get a coach who could be the next great coach of the Denver Broncos, who could be here forever, who can stabilize the offense, who can develop a young quarterback that comes in under his system and build a system with that quarterback. I'm all about taking the biggest swing for the fences because it has the biggest possible rewards. If you hit a home run, then everyone's happy, and if you don't, just start over and do it again.
Do you think Zach Taylor is an actual possibility?
I think he is. If we've learned anything from John Elway interview processes, though, it's that usually one interview stands out among the rest. One drags on for hours and hours. One ends up in the back room of a steakhouse, maybe over a couple old fashions or whatever it is. That wasn't the case for Zach Taylor in his interview. Now, maybe he gets a second interview. Maybe he comes to Denver if the Rams fall out of the playoffs, though I think things will be settled by then. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm waiting for that one interview, though. It hasn't happened yet, so that knocks down Zach Taylor a little bit in my book.
Well, to end on a positive note, who was your MVP on offense and who was your MVP on defense?
Offense has got to be obvious. It was definitely Philip Lindsay. I was talking yesterday, and I've talked about this a lot, but what would have this offense been without Philip Lindsay? You got a little taste of it at the end of the season there. Now, that was also without, Demaryius Thomas, without Emmanuel Sanders from the beginning of the season. You're in your fourth and fifth tight ends. I mean, they were really low down there, but they scored 9 points. Philip Lindsay and really Emmanuel Sanders, who did a lot for this offense, definitely deserves an honorable mention here. But without Philip Lindsay, this offense would have had no juice, no explosiveness, very few big plays. I think Phil really transformed this offense and gave them a attribute that they haven't had in a while.
What about on defense?
On defense, it's hard to go away from Von Miller, right? He had 14.5 sacks. He's a second-team All-Pro. Should have been a first-team All-Pro. Chris Harris Jr. is also in there. I think you saw how much it affected the defense when you took Chris out of it. Bradley Chubb deserves an honorable mention. Will Parks is, if you were going to say, most improved player,
yes,
that's who I would choose on defense. So there were a lot of players on defense that had decent seasons, but they also learned a kind of a tough lesson that the offense has known for a while, though, which is you're only as strong as your weakest link. And they had some weak links in the secondary, which made things harder for the entire defense to operate. So I got to give it to Vaughn because I'd be wrong to not do it, but there are definitely more deserving candidates on that side.
Well, this is going to be an interesting offseason, so be sure to stay with us and subscribe to bsndenver.com for the best Denver sports coverage around. For Ryan Koenigsberg, I'm Allie Monroy, BSN Denver.